home would have sufficient water supply at an acceptable flow rate. They did that through fracking. I am now concerned that the water demand for the new construction of the well will further have a negative impact on my son's water supply for also not only for his home, but for all other homes in the area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Administrator, Mr. Barber, board, guests, neighbors, and new friends. My name is Glenn Reyes. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I am a proud resident of Mecklenburg County. Irene Parrish is my wife, and I surely married up. Allowing such a high capacity, I'm against the project. Allowing such a high capacity condensed housing area would certainly require several drilled wells within the site to be developed. The addition of any drill or deep well would bring the possibility of creating a cone of depression. With each additional drilled well, the likelihood of creating a cone of depression multiplies exponentially. So to better understand this, the deep well water draws water from the aquifer. All the shallow bored wells would dry up, or at the very least, cause overpumping, which will have a direct impact on the well's overall performance. Has a geological study been performed to ensure that this cannot and will not occur? Or I ask you, who on this commission is willing to gamble on this project, knowing now that the cause and effect it could have probably have on the community? The bottom line, overpumping can result in well contamination and yield a decline in well water production. Listen to this, urgent. Less than 20 minutes ago, my wife and I received a telephone call. One of the renters on her property does not have water. His property is next to our son's property. One of the son's property's well was fractured. This renter has never had any problem with well water. The fact that some of the residents on Highway 761 Oak Road reside in double wides or trailers or modulars is inconsequential, immaterial, and irrelevant to this project. And for someone to say that is more than insidious. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on this matter?
Good morning to the board
Good morning.
and my colleagues. My name is James N. Smith. I live at 19468 Highway 1. That's approximately about 200 yards from Oak Road. I am here to express concerns of the safety of Highway 1 and Oak Road where they come together there. I have some pictures that I want to show you of how these intersections intersect with each other. This project that we're talking about will play a great part of how it will impact the flow of traffic and the safety of the community going and coming from Oak Grove, with an addition to Highway 1, where I live. Right now, when I leave my driveway to enter Highway 1, and the State Department have done a good job in marking this highway. This is a 3-lane highway that's marked to merge into the ongoing traffic to keep it flowing. And it changes 5 or 6 times between Oak Road and going north to Brunswick County. Now, the more pressure that's put on her, the more traffic that's put on number 1, and it's a lot already. will cause an impact. Just looking at when you put big trucks and smaller car vehicles together, it's not always good. Most of the time, if you look at big trucks and stuff, they run on their own lanes, but when they're mixed with cars and everything, and the speed limits are not set for those trucks to run.
1 minute.
They're different. It will cause accidents and stuff like that. I myself have already witnessed 3 accidents on number 1 in the last 2 years. One was when the car was going to turn into a Heinz convenience store, and the truck, I guess the car didn't see the truck, and the truck hit the car and plotted into the gas pumps, broke the pumps off, the road was shut down for a while until the fire department could get there, close the pumps and everything, and have the repair guy to come out. Another one was the truck was traveling from south on Route 1, pulled into Love's truck stop to get fuel, pulled up to the wrong pump, and the pump attendant told him, "You have to go around and get in line." He goes around in this yard, Love's truck stop, goes around in the yard and turns
Time.
a truck off.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Larry Cook, and I'm opposed to the construction of the 14-unit apartment complex on 761 Oak Road.
Where do you live, Mr. Cook?
I reside in Lawrenceville. Me and my wife own a property on Oak Road.
Okay.
I have multiple reasons why I'm in opposition. Landlords, developers are concerned if the prospective tenant can pay the rent. Landlords, developers are not concerned about the safety and well-being of the families of the existing home property owners. They never were, and they never will be, from my past experience. My wife and I decided to free ourselves of the landlord's influence by purchasing a property on Oak Road. We are now proud grandparents and want to provide a safe and fun environment for our grandkids, a place where their young minds can be stimulated for future success. We committed to a $23,000 property improvement in October of 2020 and took delivery in March 2021. The construction of an apartment complex will bring down the value of Oak Road property owners, will compromise the lifespan of the existing water table in conjunction with global warming, having a direct effect on multiple acreage agricultural properties depending on water now and in the future. And it will also increase traffic. Please consider the interests and concerns of the residents and property owners of Oak Road before a landlord developer brings a bunch of individuals together who can just pay the rent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning.
Morning.
My name is Herb Burgart. I've lived at 1502 Oak Road for 20 years. The petition drive that we all worked on to oppose this zoning change has made us all realize even deeper the great place where we live. It has brought us all closer together as friends and neighbors. We all hope to continue to build on this common bond. We appreciate what we have, our homes, our yards, our gardens, our families, all in our little piece of the country. We're not asking for anything except for you to let the neighborhood grow as it always has. Please let us continue. I came here with my family to live in a rural environment in Southern Virginia. Money was invested, but it was the hard work and love of country that enabled my brother, my wife, and I to transform a clear cutover into a home in the country. It took years, and I love what we made. My son grew up there from age 1 until just last week when he moved out and on to his own life. It was a great place to grow up. That was one of the main reasons we moved here, to allow him the opportunity to grow up in a rural country atmosphere. There are many other residents who did the same thing. He plans to come back someday, and he expects it to be much the same. It will have more houses built on the lots that are empty, but the character of the neighborhood should be the same. If you make a right turn on Oak Road onto US Highway 1, coming out of Oak Road towards South Hill, There are many commercial properties for sale that are closer to town and have the necessary utilities for many commercial apartment buildings. Granted, the properties will be more expensive, but isn't that the price of doing commercial rental business? The 7-acre piece of land in question for development was purchased at a R2 zone price. And if so desired, R2 homes can be built there. I believe it is unscrupulous to buy land at a price that is
1 minute.
that is at a value based on the designated zoning, make plans to develop a housing project that is completely out of sync with the current zoning in the area, and then come to the Board of Supervisors and ask to change the zoning to fit the building. That sounds bad enough, but it's the damage that occurs afterwards that's even worse. And it's not the financial burden that the residents incur that makes it so condemning. The worst thing about it is a destruction of a way of life that we have loved and worked to protect. Please keep the R2 zoning in force as it should be. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak at this time?
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Patricia Graves, and I lived at 1438 Oak Road for 40 years. And I oppose the zoning on Oak Road. My husband is a CDL driver and a former VDOT worker. He has pointed out several dangerous blind spots and curves on an unimproved road. The increased traffic would only make the situation worse. My concern about fire safety in an apartment building like this. We don't have any fire hydrants where we live. I've been informed by persons of the fire and EMS service that this complex like this would require indoor sprinklers. These sprinklers require high-pressure, multiple water lines, such that are found in cities and towns. What plans are there in place for fire safety in a commercial apartment building that resides on a country road? You will not meet proper fire safety requirements with simple county wells. I question the track record of Black Acres Hypothetical LLC to take on developments of a housing project like this. The managing interest who represents the owners have only ever been involved in buying and selling real estate. They have never developed an apartment complex like this in Mecklenburg County or anywhere else that we could find. I do not believe the development is in compliance with the state statement of intent as described in the Mecklenburg County Article 4A Residential District R1A. There aren't any similar commercial structures in our neighborhood. This building would be completely incompatible. There would certainly be more than 50 vehicular trips per day for an apartment building this size. This designates this as a commercial building that will require a commercial entrance as outlined in the VDOT regulation and manual. Oak Road is an unimproved small country road without shoulders. We have power outage quite often here in our area. We were out of power for more than 2 weeks during the ice storm last winter.
1 minute.
And a hurricane knocked out power for over 3 weeks. We country folks can do burning wood, using generators, and helping each other. How would residents in a city apartment building fare out here when the power goes out for more than a week? I think this will be a disaster. Finally, I would like to know if any of the following studies or surveys have been completed, or if they are required. Environmental impact studies, traffic impact studies, geological surveys for well water impact in the area. Will the site be developed in accordance with the State Water Control Board, Chapter 870 VSMP regulations? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Vincent Hickson. I live at 967 Oak Road. I've been there for 28 years. Never had a problem for my shallow well. My well is no more than 70 feet deep. Never had a problem since I've been there, and hopefully will not have a problem in the future. If they have not done any water studies, that will take away water from every house that is older than mine. And there are a bunch that are 30, 40, 50 years old on that road. If they take away the water, will we have legal rights to sue them because our wells are suddenly useless and we will have to re-drill? That is the only question I have relating to that. And then where's the water runoff for this parking lot and the building structure gonna go? There's only a couple of options available. One will be the Meherrin River, which is half to 3/4 of a mile away. The other will be Route 85, which is a couple hundred yards away. So that pavement that takes away from the grass and the trees that the runoff would normally go into for normal rain events and a few hurricanes that we get every few years, that runoff has to go somewhere. Right now, I've heard nothing and seen nothing that they've done a study for where that runoff is going to go, for however many parking spots they're going to have, for however size the buildings are going to be. If they're 2,700 square feet, you're talking 6 bedrooms each. That will be 150 gallons of sewage out of each bedroom that they can account for to the sewage system. That means that's 2,700 gallons of water per day towards sewage. Where's that water going to come from? That's everything I have to say. I am opposed to this.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing no one, I will declare the public hearing to be closed. Board, what's your pleasure? This is District 4, I believe, Mr. Lundy.
Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion for the rezoning on Oak Road from R2, single-family homes, to R1A, multi-family dwelling, be referred back to the Planning Commission for further study, because there's a whole lot of unknowns here, and they need to know. It's a motion. Thank you.
Okay. All right, you've heard that motion. Any discussion on that motion? Where's Mr. Henry? Where'd he go?
There he is.
Any data available to indicate that this would have any impact on the water supply out there?
All that will be done through the health department. Right.
Okay, Mr. Jennings, you have information on that?
Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, excuse me. This property, as one of the gentlemen earlier mentioned, could easily be multiple single-family homes in a row. Everything that is going to be done here easily complies with the health department regulations, the erosion and sediment regulations, the building codes, the fire codes. These are single-story. There will be 3 buildings on 7 acres, which will be a much lower density per, a much lower footprint per the 7 acres than it would be if we split it up into multiple single-family homes. The traffic generation that triggers saturation or triggers VDOT work on the roads and considering of turn lanes is 1,000 cars per day. This road is not at 25% of that level. There's also a road called Surface Road that's another way out of this road that comes out on 138 that avoids having to go out on US 1 if the residents would so prefer. Surface Road is just a stone's throw, maybe 100 yards from this property. So there are multiple ingresses and egresses. This does not trigger any traffic study, any geological study. The impact is low enough that it does not require us to do that to meet all the codes. And it is simply, again, 3 buildings, 2,700 square feet each. Again, we have to meet all erosion, sediment, everything else.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions?
So someone could come in there and build a whole row of single-family dwellings. Is that
Correct.
what I'm
Correct.
understanding?
We could easily divide this into multiple lots.
Okay, all right, thank
And
you.
per the ordinance, so we could easily, I believe it's a minor subdivision.
Okay.
Mr. Hendrick would have to speak to that, but I think we could get a plat approved for 5 homes at least with a balance of the property in the back.
Okay, all right.
Thank
And
you.
you would have to have your water system, even if you're getting a low output from the well. I mean,
Well-
there are guidelines, then you'd have to have a hydromatic tank.
Again, the well and septic systems fall under the health department, but if you had 5 or 6 individual homes, you'd have 5 or 6 individual wells. The gallons per day are sort of like the traffic counts. They're numbers that are on the high end of the spectrum. So they might say you need 150 gallons per day for a bedroom, but in reality, you might only need 50. People shower, people people cook, et cetera, laundry. I don't know of the metered use of a home with 6 residents, but I don't think it's at the full capacity. So, there are gonna be wells up and down that road at some point anyway. I counted on the aerial while the residents were talking. There are 30 residences from I-85, approximately 30 to the dead end. It's a nice community. We don't want to do anything to take away from the community. This is not in a commercial complex, so to speak. It's 3 single-family buildings with off-street parking.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Excuse me, Robert, would we, being on the planning commission, would we be getting a report from the health department or anything like that if we had another meeting?
The only thing you can provide is put the health department approved for well and septic, that's all I get. They go out and check and see if it works for well and septic and how many bedrooms.
Right, so, but if the health department denies that, then it can't happen anyhow, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it's got to comply.
They do a septic. They actually don't perk. The well isn't done until after construction begins. Generally, most wells are put in at the end of a house being built. You only get it perked, and that's all we get from the health department, sir. It's just the health department approval that says you can put that there. That single house, or in this case, they would have to have, prior to construction, the health department approval for the 6-bedroom, each septic system being approved.
Right. Well, Mr. Chairman, the only thing I see, it's sending it back to the planning commission. I think y'all heard exactly what we heard here today on both sides. So I don't know whether that accomplishes. The other thing courtesy to the people here and the applicant, I think they come to the meeting in June and we didn't have a quorum. So they've been here for June. We come back in July, and now we would ask them to come back again in August, 3 months in a row. And I don't know if that's real good business doing that in a way. So I don't know whether we would accomplish anything. I know we had 4 members absent at the last planning commission, but, I think if all 4 of them voted the other way, it's still, you got a 5-5, we really accomplished nothing. So, I don't know, I think maybe the board should make a decision on this, whichever way, it makes no difference to me.
Yeah, I do need to point out that the planning commission did approve this request on a 5-1 vote, so.
So no other information can come by taking it back to the planning commission. Everything
Chair.
is
Mr. Chair,
brought forward, right?
I didn't heard anything here today.
all those questions, and I have some down here myself, then those residents have asked, they need an answer.
All right, we're gonna give them one.
So we need another meeting.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to send this application request back to the planning commission for further study. Any more discussion on that motion? All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're gonna need a roll call, Jim.
Mr. Brinkley,
No.
Mrs. Lundy,
Yes.
Mr. Tanner,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
No.
Mr. Jennings,
No.
Mr. Hargrove,
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson,
No.
Mr. Spain,
Yes.
Mr. Barber.
No.
5-4.
5-4.
Denied.
Denied the motion, okay? All right, so that motion has been denied, so do we have another motion to?
Mr. Chairman, I do have one other question that I was going
Sure.
to ask for. Does this applicant have anything from the health department as far as a perk on this land on file?
Sir, we have hired Robert Johansson, who's former health department employee and a licensed soil scientist. He has designed the perk sites. Because of the cost of the permitting, that's not going to be turned in until we either receive, if we receive an approval here, we can turn that in and provide that to Mr. Hendrick. But the soil scientist has been on site. The sites have been designed, and if you look at the last page of the survey, that's just a drawing, but it shows where approximately where the residences will be located and where the drain fields will be located.
Mr. Tanner, can I ask a quick question? Is he an AOC?
Yes.
And then the health department doesn't have any say, they just have to review his
Permit.
documents and then actually approve it, sir. That's why I was asking that. If he is a AOC by code, the health department automatically has to accept any of their designs. And that's it. They just inspect them for installation.
Right.
Correct, Robert?
Right. And the other thing that I can bring up with this type of development, they're gonna have to do an erosion sediment control plan to be approved, and plus the storm permit. Because we're doing the parking lot and land disturbance. Yes, sir.
And I believe the health department's gonna require a certain amount per person that would occupy, just the same way you put any other apartment complex. The water system's got to produce a certain amount of money for the residents. And I assume, how many units are there total? 4 times 3, 12?
12.
Does it fall into the part where they have to do actually water samples and send them off to the state? I think 12's the cutoff, isn't it?
Well, from my experience, any single, even single family home, before you can get your CDL, the water system.
No. I'm talking about testing the same way you would the town of South Hill, Clarksville, any of them have to be tested. Because, well, I used to own a water system and it was cut off at 12. Anything under 12 and under, you didn't have to. Over, you had to do fall under the state regulations, and you're inspected, and the whole spiel. So I guess what I was saying is the system. Some of these residents is concerned about the amount of water usage, but if the well is a low producing well, they will require, of course, a larger storage area, hydromatic tank. Instead of 100 gallon, you might have a 3,000 gallon hydromatic tank. And so I was telling the residents that even if it's a low producing well, it will be made to accommodate that number of residents. Cone of influence that has been brought up generally is a lot tighter positioning of that. And I speak from, I have a seawell license. Cone of influence from that far way down Oak Drive should not have an influence on this well. If you read up on it. If you're close, yes. If you know your house and neighbor's house, yes. But as you get further away, it's not.
What's the total number of bedrooms? Just total bedrooms?
Sir, it would be 6 per building, 3 buildings, so 18.
18 units.
18 bedrooms.
Bedrooms.
Okay, so somebody could go there and build 4 5-bedroom homes.
Easily.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, board, we need a motion to either approve or deny this application.
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that we go by what the planning commission recommended and we approve this application.
Okay, you've heard that motion. Any discussion on that motion? Roll call, Jenny?
Mr. Brinkley?
Yes.
Mrs. Lundy,
No.
Mr. Tanner?
No.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Mr. Hargrove?
No.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Spain?
No.
Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Same, 5-4, carried.
That motion is approved on 5-4 vote. All right, thank you all. All right, moving on to the next matter. All right, we're going to wait a couple minutes and let these folks leave. Okay. All right, moving on, the next, we have a rezoning application from Robert G. Steiner and Joy Vanazzi. I hope I pronounced that. Mr. Henry?
Application by Robert G. Steiner Jr. and Joy Panazza to rezone from Business B1 to agricultural to allow for a single-family home. This property identified as Mecklenburg County Tax Number 023000-A-019 is zoned Business B1, is located on the west side of Whiteman Road and is approximately 3 miles north of its intersection with Highway 47, Chase City District, Election District 7, County of Mecklenburg, reference deed book LR 5-3079.
All right, anyone here representing the applicant who wishes to speak before we go to public hearing? If not, I declare the public hearing to be open to consider the application that you just heard read. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter, please come forward. Seeing no one, I declare the public hearing to be closed. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, move to approve the application.
Motion to approve this application. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next, we have application from Microsoft Corporation. Mr. Henry?
You have an application by Microsoft Corporation to rezone 178.69 acres from agricultural to industrial M1 to allow for a data center. This property identified as Mecklenburg County Tax Number 11000-08-001 is located on the north side of Highway 58, approximately 900 feet west of State Route 675 Hayes Mill Road, Borden District, Election District 7, County of Mecklenburg, reference deed book LR-21-3034.
Okay, anyone representing Microsoft? Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Anselmo Cruz, 101 Herbert Drive. This request is for one building. It's a 48 megawatt data center to support Microsoft cloud infrastructure. So I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions? Yes, gentlemen?
No.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, at this time, I declare the public hearing to be open to consider this application from Microsoft Corporation. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter, please come forward. Seeing no one, I declare the public hearing to be closed. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve the application, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to approve application. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, special exception permit from application from Joseph D. Williams Jr. Mr. Henry?
You have an application by Joseph D. Williams Jr. for a special exception permit to operate a neighborhood business. This property identified as County Tax Number 04700-A-019 is zoned agriculture, is located on the north side of Rocky Branch Drive, Highway 610, approximately 1 mile west of Brankley Road, Highway 696, Bluestone District, Election District 8, County of Mecklenburg, reference deed book LR-14-3824.
All right, anyone representing the applicant wish to speak at this time? If not, I declare the public hearing to be open to consider the application that you just heard read. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter, come forward. Seeing no one, declare the public hearing to be closed. Board, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept this application.
Motion to accept the application. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, next is an application from Zachary Thomas Miller, Southern Loon Retrievers.
Application by Zachary Thomas Miller, Southern Loon Retrievers for a special exception permit to operate a neighborhood business. This property identified as County Tax Number 051000-011 is on agricultural and located on the east side of Highway 92, approximately 1/10 of a mile north of Parsons Road, State Route 797. Chase City District, Election District 7, County of Mecklenburg, reference deed book LR-14-2197.
Okay. Anyone here representing the applicant wish to speak? If not, I declare the public hearing now to be open to consider this application. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter, come forward. All right, seeing no one, the public hearing is closed. Board, what's your pleasure?
Move to approve the application, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to approve application, any discussion?
Just a question, how many acres involved in this tract of land?
Yeah, they did leave that off, didn't they?
I'm looking.
There it is, but I don't. Let's see.
I think it's 12 acres, but I'm not, you find my tax record.
And with training of dogs, there'll be no problem with dogs getting into the road or Highway 92.
I don't even have my tax record. I think it's like 12 or 15 acres all involved, and it's gonna be just on-site training duck dogs. So they won't be running loose.
Okay, they'll be contained. Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Any other discussion?
Well, thank you.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next is application from Lillian Gordon, The Junction LLC.
You have an application by Lillian Gordon, The Junction LLC, for a special exception permit to operate a neighborhood business. This property identified as county tax number 146000-A-028 146-000-A-027 167-000-02-01 and 146-000-10-A. Zone agriculture and business B1. Is located on the south side of Highway 58 and the east and west side of State Route 815, Greenhouse Drive. Clarksville District, Election District 1, County of Mecklenburg, reference deed book LR-14, 1928, LR-6-137, LR-16-4035, Wheel Book WF-16-395, LR-17-4327, and WF-16-395.
All right, anyone representing the applicant wish to speak at this time?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Evie Gordon, I'm here to go over the business plan to continue our local corn maze at a new location, which is Greenhouse Drive, as Mr. Hendricks stated. Our mission is strive to be a fun, family-oriented agritourism business that provides hands-on harvest and activities with community and public while partnering with local farmers to have seasonal agricultural products that are grown on site. I kind of separated this by seasons. These will be used to provide seasonal fruits, vegetables, activities, along with U-Pick options for individuals, families, churches, and school functions. Spring and summer, as many of you know, I sell strawberries on the top of Greenhouse Drive, and I'd like to continue that along with maybe incorporating a few more products in the future, asparagus or blueberries. The fall and winter, this is where I have the corn maze, the pumpkin patch, animal viewings, hay rides, and a few games. I also separated it by seasonal events. I'd like to have a few birthday parties, classes, a paint class for kids and families. I do want to have music, concession, fire pit s'mores, and some event nights. Phase 2 will be used to increase days of operation for fall and winter to Monday through Sunday. along with the introduction of outdoor family-appropriate movie nights and animal farm swaps. Farm swaps will be partnered with local businesses. Phase 3 will be used to incorporate on-site, non-permanent, overnight agritourism stays for traveling guests that have their own mobile accommodations. The example I want to use is harvesthost.com. It's a membership-only website. At the bottom of my plan, I have local community support. I want to use local food trucks, local brewing wineries to come out for special events, local music, and I do want to have local fundraisers. One that Laura and Danny did when they had this was they had the fire department out for a haunted night, and they raised money that way. I'd like to continue that. I don't know if y'all have the packets or anything. I provided the zoning committee, but I had the picture of the Mecklenburg County GIS of where it be located with all the surrounding neighbors. My 2021 layout, which is just where everything's going to be set up, I did change it. I'm not going to do parking between the Railroad Drive and Highway 58. And as a safety precaution, I am going to put a portable fence up as an admission area to keep any kids from wandering. I had a picture of just an aerial photo as to where the corn maze will be. And then I also included pictures of our last year pumpkin crop and strawberries that I've grown in the past. With that being said, I'd like to answer any questions if you all have any.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
Sir.
The only question I had was
One
the,
Yes.
only question I had was the overnight agritourism stays. Would you give us a little more specifics on that?
The one that I want to use, I have a fact sheet if anybody needs it. It's harvesthost.com, so it's a membership-based website. And all it does is it allows people that are traveling to come and stay for a maximum of one night only to check out your venue. So like the corn maze, they can come and stay and just the one night and visit and participate in any events you have going on.
So you won't be providing water or sewer?
You don't have to, no. They have to have their own accommodations for everything, and it's just a one-night stay, and then they're gone. And it's not a bunch of people like lined up like a campsite or anything. It's just if someone calls and says, I'm a member, I want to come, I want to stay, can I park here?
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
It's a great event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we will open the public hearing to consider this application. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter, please come forward.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Veronica Everett, and I live 399 Penn Road, Buffalo Junction, Virginia. As Mecklenburg County property owners and residents of Buffalo Junction, Virginia, we welcome wholesome neighborhood business. The Junction LLC is proposing an agritourism venture that is comprised of several components. The plan as presented to the Mecklenburg County Planning Commission at the July 29, 2021 meeting is sketchy at best. We insist that a complete business plan be submitted with diagrams showing the exact locations and details of each proposed component. One cannot make an objective nor intelligent decision based on the present plan. Now, we as residents, we are very much in favor of the corn maze. However, some of the components that's being presented fall far beyond the elements of a corn maze. At the Planning Commission, we were not privy to the plan that was presented until after the fact. Now, because of the time element, I want to express, and I want to start from the most critical component that we are opposed to having as part of this corn maze, and that is the harvest host. This will be a nuisance and will infringe upon our rights to a quiet and peaceful enjoyment of our properties. An RV camp has the potential of campers from all 50 states. Safety and privacy issues could become evident for the tax-paying people in the community?
1 minute.
Will the host offer RV visitors a way of disposing their waste? If so, how and where will the disposal be located? This component would mean more traffic flow on the Penn Road dumpster area, posing added inconvenience to the residents. Increased noise level from overnight guests, such as music and the use of multiple generators, if electricity isn't offered by the host or the owner. We have been homeowners and residents of the area for years. How will this benefit us? To us, it appears to be one big headache brought on by the host or the owner and the campers, whomever they might be. During our research, this type of campsite is not in neighborhoods, but in more secluded areas or areas more conducive for RV camping. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I do have a copy of this because it does outline other questions that we have.
Leave that with our
Okay.
county staff, please.
I think it's about one
Thank
for
you.
each one. Mhm. Here you go, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak to this matter?
Hello, I'm Tom Ivy. I live at 132 Lakefront Drive in Clarksville. I was completely unaware of what I'm speaking on now when I walked into the room. I am a member of Harvest Host. I own 2 RVs, and my wife and I travel regularly. We have self-contained units. We have a generator that we can run and sleep in the unit because it's so quiet. We have water and sewage that we take in and out with us. The Harvest Host people never take more than 3 or 4 campers at a time. Most of them come in late at the day and leave early in the morning, and it's nothing more than a parking area for most of us. In traveling, we have hey, let's stop in Clarksville and see what Clarksville is all about. We stayed in Ohio, we stayed in Pennsylvania, and some of these farms are really cool to see. If you have any questions about Harvest Host, I'd be happy to tell you my opinion of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. The public hearing is now closed. It's the pleasure of the board.
I would just like to make a statement about the Pitters, Danny and Laura Pittard, ran operation just like this with a corn maze for many, many years, and it was a blessing to have it in our community. Very family oriented. It just was, an event to go to on the weekends during this time of year, especially fall. Now, granted, there are some other possibilities down the road, but where it's located, I think basically on the highway, it's more of a district that's conducive to that type of facility, or not facility, just plans. And I think everybody knows the family. They don't do anything halfway. They're very clean. Every all the operations, and I expect this would be the same thing. I do not think it would be an eyesore. I think it would be a blessing to the community, and I would like to make that in the form of a motion that we approve this application.
All right.
Yes,
And go from there.
Before we go to a vote, can I ask Ms. Lillian a question, please?
Sir.
Before we go for a vote, can I ask Ms. Lillian a question?
Sure.
Yes, Ms. Lillian, you did say that you're gonna, your plans are to work with churches, local churches and so
Yes,
forth.
sir. I have one event already planned if you'd like to hear about it.
No, I'm just asking, because I think it's a good thing to be incorporated with the community so that our young folks will have somewhere to go on Sunday evenings and Saturdays and so
I
forth.
agree.
But to have contained campers, I think she had already mentioned that, because if she supply water, then she has to supply sewage. She's not doing either, it's a self-contained. So I think, and I'm more concerned about the community and the churches. So thank you so very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. I just noticed that we have another public hearing here on Dominion Energy. That's still a go, right, Mr. Carter?
Yes, sir. No, actually, the planning commission, that was a 2232 review, sir, sorry. The planning commission recommended it, so unless you all want to overrule them and then go back and hold a public hearing, that would be the only concern.
On the Dominion Energy.
Yes, sir. Planning commission
That was
recommended
just for
approval.
information. We don't have to have a hearing.
So we do not have to have a hearing.
No, you do not. Planning commission had to hold a public hearing. Let me
So-
rephrase that. You all get notified if you all wanted to overrule them or go back and look at it, then you all could and hold a public hearing yourselves.
So we don't need an approval
No, sir.
at all. All right, excellent. Anybody got any questions or discussion on that?
Give me that one too, Chris.
No, sir.
All right, okay. All right, so we have on the next is a new school update. We have a stand-in presenter. Mr. Carter?
Mr. Nichols was out and Mr. Dalton, who was going to do this, had a meeting this morning from 9 to 11. So I will go over everything and we'll go from there. This is the overview of the process, as you've seen every month. Steel erection is still going on. You can actually see certain sections complete. The second floor decking is complete and they're setting trusses in the auditorium. You could see that if you came by this morning. Steel is going up on the second floor. All deck slabs have been poured on the second floor. When we went and toured it 3 weeks ago, they were still pouring them, if you'll remember. So they have finished that up. The PVC roofing is in progress over the CTE area, which is to the right front as you come in from South Hill. Plumbing, electrical, and fire suppression is ongoing throughout the school. The classrooms in the CTE wing and ductwork is being pressure tested. That was being worked on when we did our tour. Painting has started in the middle school gyms. Asphalt paving of the middle school track has been complete, and the force main is still in progress. They were out there working this morning at a couple sites. The sump structure has been reset, and they're beginning foundations for the bus canopy. That has happened since we were out there 3 weeks ago. Final completion is still on track for August of 21. You can see the notable dates with regards to the roofing being completed by the end of this week. The crane will set all the HVAC the following week and preparing for asphalt, et cetera, throughout the month. They hope to have the force main set, as you can see, by the 21st. Still on budget, and they're still doing the direct purchases. And
So, as I understand it, will be available for occupancy. Is it June 1st or July 1st?
that's what we were told again at our meeting 3 weeks ago. They will have the inside done June 1st. They will not have all the outside done until August, correct?
That's right. That gives them 3 months to move everything in before school starts after Labor Day.
Right. So that 2 months, yes, that will be doing the purchasing for all the desks, chairs, et cetera.
Right.
Here's an air.
Ready in a year, what?
It's not bad. They got a lot of work to do based on where we were at 3 weeks ago in a year. But they said they can do it, so we're gonna go by what the superintendent has told us 3 weeks ago.
Do they have to give up any money if they don't do it?
I do not know on their contract, sir. I was not privy to it. You do have the aerial views. That is the middle school track. You can see paving has been completed about it. There's a lot of roof assembly systems to be put on that building. They are working in some areas that have been complete, so they do have some of the interior contractors working. So that's because of the size of it, that's good because it's a large building.
What about the people we have watching? What do they say?
They're still saying yes. That's what Paul told us 3 weeks ago.
They probably know.
So they were there. Skanska was there at the meeting we had. You've got 3 board members who were there. They said that correct.
Every time we talk to any of them there, I mean, they don't scratch their head. They pretty
They
confident.
don't start out by saying,
Well, maybe we might, if this don't happen or that, no, you don't hear none of that.
I believe.
We gonna do it.
It's a lot of work still to
Better
be
watch
done.
for those words. I tell you that.
You can see they have, in this one, they had not finished pouring the second floor, so you can see that aerial wing. Back in July, all those roof beams on the first floor have been poured now, based upon what Paul just sent us. So,
Still a lot to do in a year.
yes, sir, it's a huge amount.
To
Any
put
more
students
pictures?
in.
Yes, it is.
There's the sump. That is right down beside 58 in the bottom, just this side of the school. Okay, there's the second floor slab. I know they were pouring that week before last. The bus canopy is going in there. And then you've got a mock-up of what the outside's gonna look like.
Looks good.
All right.
Any questions that I can't answer?
Well, I think one thing too we need to keep in mind is this school year will be potentially a very emotional year because, you know, it'll be the last year for Bluestone and the last year for Parkview. Their competitive, you know, sports competitions and all this will be final year. So, you know, I guess we need to try to do our best to support both schools as they, you know, transition, you know, out of this, into this new world, if you will. So just, you know, we need to be cognizant of that. So, all right. Thank you, sir. Next, we have Southside Behavioral Health Update. Beth?
Good morning.
Morning.
Here's a copy.
Appreciate you, your patience.
Oh, no problem. It's a very interesting meeting. So we just wanted to bring you an update about where we are, where we're starting our new fiscal year, and some of the challenges that we're going through, and new initiatives that we've put in place for this next year. Along with everybody else, we've had a lot of challenges and decisions to be made this past year that were unanticipated. We had to make a lot of really difficult decisions as far as staffing goes, hours goes, how we conducted business. We faced declining revenues due to some increased expenses such as protective health equipment, laptop computers, changes in how we use technology to do business, how to stay in compliance with state, federal, and local health authorities, all the while continuing to provide services that we could not stop providing because we were considered to be essential services for the community, which we thought were initially was just case management and emergency services, and soon learned that it was everything. So we had to continue to provide all our services, maintain those services for the community, while not putting anybody in jeopardy of increasing risk to COVID-19. We experienced a sharp increases, as I said, to our expenses while seeing a decline in our revenue. We needed staff for residential services, nurses, and other direct care staff, which soon became difficult to hire as everybody's experiencing a workforce shortage. We had to buy laptops, personal computers, accessories that were needed for staff because, as we soon learned, we had to work remotely. I do want to say that as soon as we learned that we had to work remotely, we were able to do that in the course of about 2 to 3 weeks. Staff really did make that switch over very, very quickly. We had no stoppage in services whatsoever, and we continued to provide all of our services via telehealth until April or May of this past year, where we brought everybody back and opened our doors. And at this point in time, our doors remain open, even though we do have a mask mandate when you come in our buildings. When things did go sideways, which they did a couple times, we had numerous outbreaks in our residential facilities. We had to close one facility and move everybody to a new facility. I myself was working in the residential services during that time to provide care for our individuals who live there, because those individuals require a lot of care, and we needed to maintain safety for them during that process. We made difficult decisions such as staff furloughs, layoffs, changes in operation and roles and responsibilities due to program closures, and we made budget changes and tightened our belts because we knew that we could not count on revenues, and so we had to make up for that difference with a change in how we spent our money. We didn't seek assistance from any other local agency or organization, and in fact donated masks to all county agencies and therapy to local hospitals and school systems pro bono who might be struggling, and we did provide a number of groups and individual services to nurses in particular at Community Memorial Hospital who were providing services to individuals who could not have families in the hospital with them at that time. At every turn, we strive to be good community partners and good communicators to the community. We provided services to 3,446 individuals and over 139,000 services across our 3 counties during this time. Our revenues turned out to be $13.8 million, and our expenses turned out to be $13.3 million. So we did end the year in the positive and are very proud of that process. Those are unaudited numbers. We'll get those numbers, a final number for you probably sometime in September. Current initiatives, we are currently engaged in school-based counseling services at no cost to the district. We have therapists that we are hiring. One has already been hired for Mecklenburg County to go into the schools and provide mental health counseling for students that rise to that level. This is an outpatient service at no cost to the district. All we're requiring is space. We were able to get a grant funded through Microsoft to provide computers to the schools where we can provide telehealth for students who want to engage in that during the school day, further increasing access to services to students because we know this is going to be a difficult time. Students are going to come back to a system that they've been out of for, on and off for a year. So we know this is going to be difficult, so we're trying to increase access as much as we can. We were going to be providing LGBTQ plus training. We are going to be looking at how we can do that differently by providing that training within our own doors for any professional who wants to come in and receive that training. We know that this population is at very high risk for suicide, substance use, and other mental health issues, and so we want to make that training possible for professionals. We've put in place peer warm lines for information after hours for anybody who wants to get information on how to access services, in particular substance use services. Peers are individuals who have lived experience, which means that they have gone through using substances and are now in recovery and can provide real-life advice and support to individuals who are seeking substance use services. We've gotten training and can provide support and services specific to military veterans and their families. This is a specific population as well, and now we have training on how to provide support to that population. We are working on the development of developmentally sensitive and trauma-informed practices across the agency, which require us to have additional training across the board from front desk to myself on how to be more trauma-informed and sensitive to individuals who have experienced trauma. We've combined 2 programs due to decreased attendance in the John H. Northington building, making better use of that space so that we can use the building on 823 North Mecklenburg Avenue. We're remodeling that building to bring outpatient services into South Hill. We've been conducting that mainly from Boynton, but our services have grown such that we are outgrowing the building. And so we're making use of that building on 823 North Mecklenburg Avenue to provide a crisis receiving center and outpatient services in Mecklenburg and South Hill, as well as satellite offices in Boynton because we know it's closer to the high school.
That's the brick building beside the convenience store, right?
It's right down the street.
Oh, I thought you said in South Hill.
That one is, yes, it's next to the convenience, in
Right.
between the fitness center and the gas station.
All right. Okay.
In the very end, I need to say how very proud I am of our staff. Absolutely no service that we provided was stopped. We pushed on and did what we had to do to maintain our business practices all during this time. From our name change to ensuring that clients had their medication injections to starting new programs such as school-based services, my staff never ceased coming to work. I was there every single day, as well as everybody else doing their job. We appreciate the county's support this past year and going forward. I can't say enough how much we rely on your support. And we appreciate all the support that you've given us this past year and in years past, and hope to look forward to it in the future. We hope that you reach out to us if you have any needs that we can assist the county with, and that you continue to be active and supportive partners in our process of growth. Any questions that you have for us?
Any question?
Substance abuse has really become a huge issue in this country, and Southside Virginia is also part of that, of course. And is there any more anything on the planning boards to address those situations more? I mean, we've always had law enforcement that would take care of that end of it, but as you well have stated, that substance abuse is something that, if given an alternative such as methadone clinics or even counseling, of course, and I know that I know several people in my area that drive all the way to Danville to get methadone every day.
Right.
And-
We are not a methadone clinic.
You do?
We do not provide
Oh,
methadone, but we do provide Suboxone treatment, which is
Right.
another form of medication-assisted therapy.
Sure.
We are currently looking for a provider. It's very difficult to find a provider that is waivered and able to provide Suboxone to individuals. As I said, we have a workforce shortage, and we actually have had to close one of our group homes to provide workforce for another group home and move those individuals out. So it's become very difficult to fill positions that require licensure, certification, and DEA accessibility.
Well, I'm just saying, there's methadone clinic in Danville, Lynchburg, Richmond, and all these, compared to Southside Virginia, are a long
Right.
drive. And so there is a need there, because I have interfaced with people that get to the clinic. You find from the homeless person almost to all the way to somebody wearing a business suit.
Right.
That is an everyday thing, and it's just part of their life, and they go to work like any normal human being because this option's available to them. And it, in a process, probably gets them in a situation where they can switch to a Suboxone somewhere down the road, I
Right.
would think. And I just think this community and this county needs to do more to address that situation.
I would
and not-
agree.
And not shove it aside just as it's their problem, not ours,
Soon as we can get someone in place, we'll be providing it. It's just a matter of putting them in that job. It's there. We also are in the process of developing an adolescent intensive outpatient program for substance use. It's a mystery to me how somebody cannot be an addict and turn into one at 18 when they walk through our doors as an adult. So I know that the adolescent substance use issue is not being addressed, and we're trying to put something in place to address that.
I know one such case just like that. Anyway, okay.
I know the General Assembly just met last week, and they did put more money into mental health. Is that going to affect your funding? How so? And will you be coming back to the three counties asking for additional funding with regard to that for the match?
I'm
You know me,
waiting.
I'm always going to ask
I
that
know
question.
that. I know that. And I know that we've gotten increases in the last 2 years that have increased our ask to you. I don't know yet.
Okay, because I mean,
they have not told us how they're going to be parsing out that money yet. As soon as I know something, I will let you know.
and we had to ask for the variance because we didn't fully fund you this year, but now with that additional funding, I wondered how that was going to affect.
I don't think it's going to be ongoing money. It's coming through the CARES Act, and it's money that they're getting.
I was really referring more to also the general fund budget, because they've said they want to increase because of the general fund budget was so much higher also.
I
How that's gonna
anticipate
affect.
that's going to be going to the hospital facilities, the bulk of it, which
Thank
doesn't include us. But you never know. They keep asking us what do we need, and we keep telling them, and they keep giving us funds. So, I mean, it is, once I know, I will tell you. We have not been told yet.
I'm just saying that because they had the surplus, again, that was one-time funds. But if it shows back up again next year, it's going to become ongoing funds. Therefore, they're going to be back to you all looking for additional funds. And I just wanted to
Yeah, every time we
prep
get,
everybody on that one coming, because it's not going to be going less, I can guarantee you.
every time we get an increase in state funds, it increases our ask through the counties, every time. And sometimes I'm the last to know what I'm gonna get, so it is sometimes a surprise to me that we're getting an increase in funding. But it does increase our ask to the counties, all 3 counties.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Yeah, a while back, I got a phone call about this JH Northington building. Did y'all change the name of that or something?
No, sir.
So it's still,
It's still the John H. Northington Center. We did put a new sign out front that says adult rehab, because those are the services that are provided in that building, and we wanted to make sure that all our signage was the same throughout our entire catchment area. Each sign that we have has what the building does and how to get appointments. And the name of the building, we have a nice brass plaque on the building that has the name of the building on it.
okay. Did this family, I mean, I don't know a lot, I should have did the research. Did they give money to that or something? How did,
I don't think, if I look back in our records, and I did, they did not give a huge amount. It was some. But mostly they were involved in the planning and development of the building. And, we didn't want to take anything away from that. They are certainly active members in support of individuals with intellectual disabilities. And so we wanted to make sure that they were recognized.
thank you.
It was here before me.
Yeah, me too, I think.
Any other questions?
I don't know.
Well, Beth, thank you for coming. I know it's been a challenging time for you. And
Yeah, I earned a few more of these gray hairs this past year.
well, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, next, we're going to hear a report from the Joint Education Committee. Ms. Lundy?
Yes, thank you. Minutes up, Tuesday, July the 20th, 2021, Joint Education Committee meeting. Minutes of the Joint Education Committee meeting held at the new Mill High School site in Baskerville, Virginia on Tuesday, July the 20th, 2021 at 5:00 p.m. Members of the Joint Education Committee toured the school site. The meeting was called to order at 6:10 by Claudia Lundy, Chair. Roll call, Mr. Glancy Spain, District 2 Board of Supervisors present. Mr. David Brinkley, District 8 Board of Supervisors present. Mr. Wayne Carter, County Administrator. Mr. Lindell Palmer, District 4 School Board present. Mr. Ricky Allgood, District 8 School Board absent. Mr. Glenn Edwards, District 9 School Board absent. Mr. Paul Nichols, Superintendent. Mrs. Paula Giamonte, Clerk, present. Also present was Ms. Wanda Bailey, District 3. Adoption of agenda. Mr. Spain made a motion to approve the agenda. The motion was properly seconded by Mr. Brinkley, with all members voting in approval. Approval of the minutes from February 25th, 2021. The committee members agreed to table the approval of the February minutes until the next meeting. Update on the progress of the new school. The new school building is scheduled to be moved in, ready by June the 1st, with 90 days for punch list items. Students will start school after Labor Day. A scheduling person will be identified for all sports to ensure a smooth transition to the combined program, which will have a new 4A designation. The BHSL recommend joining the Western Division. Members discussed the new school traffic pattern and potential problems buses and student drivers may encounter. Elementary school renovation. Committee members discussed the potential for state and federal aid with new construction. The current ESSR funding can only be used for certain buildings upgrade. It is estimated the county will need $6 million in debt service before construction can be considered for the elementary school. The members of the Board of Supervisors are not in favor of raising taxes and do not want to lose the newer addition to the 3 elementary schools. Ms. London provided the views of the La Crosse community as it pertains to La Crosse Elementary School. The community would prefer a new building in a new location. Committee members discussed the 1 cent sales tax and recommend taking a referendum for a year, tabling a referendum for a year. Mr. Franklin made a motion to adjourn the meeting with a second by Mr. Palmer. All members voted yes to adjourn. The meeting adjourned at 6:59 p.m. Chair Claudia London, Clerk Mrs. Gio Monte. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Any questions of Ms. Lundy about her report? All right, thank you. Next, Budget and Finance Committee, Mr. Spain.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Budget and Finance Committee met on Thursday, July the 29th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. in the Board of Supervisors meeting room. Member President, Glancy Spain, Charles Jones, David Brinkley, Jim Jenny, and Sterling Wilkerson. Also present, Andy Hargrove, Wayne Carter, County Administrator, Jenny Whitmore, Ed Taylor, and Samuel Langsford. The chairman called the meeting to order. Mr. Carter reviewed the following supplement appropriation needed for the FY21 budget. The Economic Department also requests a supplemental appropriation to their FY21 budget for a small business recovery assistance grant received from the Department of Housing and Community Development in the amount of $293,672.28. Upon the motion, Mr. Jennings, the committee voted unanimously to recommend the approval of the supplemental appropriation of $293,672.20 to the economic development budget. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
All right, you've heard that motion. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
The next, the Mecklenburg County School Board requests a supplemental appropriation to transfer in the following categories. 1, transportation to maintenance and operation, $106,218 even. Instruction to maintenance and operation, $200,240 even. Debt service and maintenance and operation, $111,587 even. Instruction and technology, $107,307 even. Transportation to administration, $36,998 even. Food service, balance fund, food service, $182,773.40. Upon the motion, Mr. Brinkley, the committee voted unanimously to recommend the approval of the transfer and supplemental appropriation to the school board FY21 budget. The chairman would like to put these 6 categories in the form of one motion.
Okay. All right, you've heard that motion. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
The supplemental appropriation requested to the Comprehensive Service Act Fund in the amount of $377,000 even. Upon the motion of Mr. Jones, the committee voted unanimously to recommend a supplemental appropriation to the Comprehensive Service Act Fund in the amount of $377,000 even. But the chair would like to put that in the form of a motion also.
All right, any discussion on that motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
The Sheriff Department have received a check from VACOR in the amount of $12,659.79 to cover the cost of damage to a vehicle. They are requesting a supplemental appropriation to their vehicle replacement line. Upon the motion of Mr. Jennings, the committee voted unanimously to recommend the supplemental appropriation of $12,659.79 to the sheriff budget. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put that in form of a motion.
Any discussion on that motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Mrs. Carter stated that the board need to have a supplemental appropriation for our industrial stimulus grant of $3,796,401.85. Upon the motion, Mr. Wilkinson, the committee voted unanimously to recommend a supplemental appropriation of $3,796,401.85 to the industrial stimulus grant. The chairman would like to put that in the form of a motion.
Okay, any discussion on that motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Carter explained to the board that Virginia Growth Alliance is waiting for a reimbursement fund from the Tobacco Commission, and the county would need fund their negative balance in the amount of $52,611.85. Upon the motion, Mr. Jennings, the committee unanimously voted to recommend a supplemental appropriation to the Virginia Growth Alliance in the amount of $52,611.85. The chairman would like to put that in the form of a motion.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Carter advised the committee that the county have received a total of $6,841,627.67 in the CARE Act funding. These funds need to be appropriated to the FY21 general fund budget. Upon the motion, Mr. Jones, the committee voted unanimously to recommend approval of supplemental appropriation of $6,841,627.67 to the FY21 general fund for the CARE Act funding. The chairman would like to put that also in the form of a motion.
Okay, you've heard that motion. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Okay, that's my last motion. Now, Mr. Carter, hand out a financial policy spreadsheet to the committee. He had discussed the county should have a rainy day fund for pay future debt service. If something happened to change how the data center operate, Mr. Carter had prepared figures which show how much fund is truly unobligated to the current budget. He is proposing establish a rainy day fund, which will only be used to replace the tax dollar to help pay for the current debt service of $110,130,485.01. The committee took the proposed policy under advisement. There are no more further business. The meeting was adjourned. Mr. Chairman, that concludes the financial report, and we'll be hearing more concerning a rainy day fund for the future.
All right. Thank you, sir. Any questions on Mr. Spain's report? All right. Economic Development Committee, Mr. Jones.
The Economic Development Committee met on Monday, August the 9th, 2021 at 8:30 a.m. in the Board of Supervisors Meeting Room, Boydton, Virginia. Members present, Charles Jones, Chairman, Clancy Spain, Jim Jennings, Tom Tanner. Others present, Glenn Barber, David Brinkley, Sterling Wilkinson, Claudia Lundy, Andy Hargrove, Angie Kellett, Economic Development, and Wayne Carter, the County Administrator. Called the meeting to order. Mr. Carter reviewed the bids received from Big Fork Booster Station expansion. There were two bids, one from Waco, one from Reynolds, and the Waco bid was the low bid. And upon Motion of Mr. Spain, the committee voted unanimously to recommend awarding the bid to the Big Fork Booster Station Expansion Project to Waco Incorporated for a base bid total of $1,634,602. There being no, I'd like to put that in the form of motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right, you've heard that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Meeting was adjourned.
All right. Thanks, sir. All right, Mr. Carter.
Yes, sir. You have in front of you the building permit report. Pleased to say that building permits continue to stay on pace. 12 new houses in the month of July this year. Estimated construction cost of $3.6 million. Based on what we're seeing, we feel that figure is rather low, but we'll see. You do have a total number of fees collected last month was a little over 18,000. You have the zoning permits for the month of July. They are down a little bit just because of nature of the beast. Lumber prices, as the Robert said. You've got the animal control report. If you have any questions on that one. Still able to either transfer to the SPCA or adopt out approximately 75% of the animals picked up. You have the sheriff's report, summonses and regular traffic. If you have any questions on that. Still speeding 10 over, 120, speeding of over 80, 43. Okay. If we move on along, calls to service. VDOT is here. Let them go over their report.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. Good morning.
Morning.
Y'all got our package. Y'all got our VDOT reporting package. The only thing I will add, if y'all notice, Route 92 is now open down here in Boydton. The town is still expected to put a patch on the gravel. Hoping that'll be done next week or so. 695 Hanford Road, the bridge repair is done. That detour is up. Route 678 Allen Road, that was the Rural Rustic project. That is just about complete. They got some finishing touches to do on that, and then they'll start on Ray Road on that project. Put a couple things on y'all's radar. Route 727 Henrico Road. It's another bridge repair job that needs to be done down there. Estimated, right now it's planned for 8/23, August 23rd to 9/2. The bridge will be closing. This is 2/10 of a mile north of the North Carolina line, so it's right there on the state line. The road, as of now, the plan is to close the road Monday through Friday, 8 to 4 p.m. So it'll be open at nights and weekends. And as we get closer, we'll send you a updated schedule on that. The other thing me and Tommy's been working on is the Baskerville road improvements going to the new school. Ever since the plans and the projects of this school, Tommy and I have been trying to stay a couple steps ahead of this, of the road projects. Not sure if y'all been down it lately, but you will see some improvements on, we did some drainage improvements, replacing crossline pipes, and we're also trying to smooth up the road a little bit more. Road, like I said, we've got a little time left. We're gonna do some more improvements. We just gotta be careful and stay in the maintenance umbrella and not get out of our lane into construction out there. So we're just looking at trying to make that the safest route possible. We expect traffic volumes to pick up when that school opens.
Are there plans to widen the road? Does that go too far?
That goes out the maintenance umbrella. So we're squeezing all we can in there. If you go down there, some of the new pavement that's been put down, it does look a little wider where we've squeezed it out some. But when we go into trench widening, if we do anything like that, that gets into construction. So we're kind of getting out of our lane a little bit on using maintenance funds during construction work.
So as of now, not really, no widening.
Not really, no, sir.
Okay.
Right now.
One other question, y'all are gonna do a bridge repair on 92 next year?
Next year, I believe it's,
So there'll be a stoplight on 92 down at Bluestone?
Bluestone. I think that's the plans right now.
So just for everyone's information, and that'll take a year?
Yeah, that's gonna be a long project. And we'll get more out on that as the, stuff like that it can get delayed out and stuff, so we'll get more information out when it starts becoming more concrete.
So it'll be like, when you did the repair on 15 North, 15 South, with, it had a stoplight.
Yep.
You had one lane.
Yeah, they keep one lane open and run a stoplight, and then when they get that side fixed, they flip-flop
Yeah, and it
traffic.
took a year, good year.
And they usually do. I just want to put that on everybody's radar because that's going to be a long-term project. I'm sure you're going to hear somebody complain about it when they get stuck there because it's about a 5-minute cycle on the light. Would you agree?
They're gonna raise that up and put a new bridge?
I think they're replacing the deck on it. I don't think elevation's gonna change.
I'm sure it's not your department about the widening, but I think you should pass that along to the others, because I do see a need for that before it's over with.
Yeah,
There's a lot of farm equipment, logging equipment, it's tight anyway, and you've got, adolescent, juvenile kids driving, that should be on the radar.
I agree. We can definitely keep that on our radar. We're gonna also be looking at Wooden Bridge,
Right.
that little connector right there, and see what kind of improvements we can make there.
I appreciate it.
And we will, next spring, summer, we will trip a traffic study for that road, and we'll also go and tell our PEs that the school's gonna be opening and the traffic's gonna be increasing, so hopefully, I don't wanna say any speed limit changes, but it'd be some additional signs on some curves and stuff up there. That's all I've got. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Two more quick items. Last month, we brought up the Selective Service Board. I did speak to Mr. Doddridge, and he said, basically, they had regional boards, which were much more heavily to the cities. They've gone back to local community boards. That's the reason why you've never had one. They had enough members on these regional boards from the cities that's why they didn't need any other people. We have one person in our county. All they could give us was the name, no contact information, et cetera, by law. We do have the availability of 2 more individuals, if you would like, to put on there from the local community.
Okay, Mr. Carter, I've talked to one person. You might receive a contact, Mr. Jones, concerning a person interested in that position.
Okay.
So, but we don't need to take any, we don't need to take any action on that today, right?
No, sir. This is a new item that's just come out to all of our counties in this community, so everyone's starting to feel that. They're trying, basically, they wanted local folks for these boards versus the regional, and this is just starting up. It's not like we have the draft or anything this time, so therefore, it's a long-term project for them.
So, like we handle all other of these positions, we need, if you have someone that's interested, I guess they need to submit a resume. And,
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, okay.
Finally, you brought it up earlier, the 2232 review. That went to the Planning Commission at their meeting a week and a half ago. They did recommend approval. This is for a line coming in from the, over at Clarksville, near the Jeffress area, coming back around and servicing the Lakeside Commerce Park right there, industrial site that is owned by Microsoft. They'll need to put in twin 115 lines at this time in order to serve that site for its future development.
Okay. All right. Very good.
You will not have to have one, I don't believe, for the site that was reload zoned this morning because the line, already the existing twin 115s runs right in front of the Bishop property and across it, so they'll just come straight in on that.
All right. Anything else, sir?
That's it, sir.
Anyone have any questions, Mr. Carter, on anything in his report? All right, thank you. Okay, we have a couple of appointments to consider. the term of Mr. Mike Denton on the Lake Country Airport Commission expired July 1. He is eligible for reappointment. So just
Make a motion that we reappoint Mike Denton to Lake Country Airport Commission.
All right, we have a motion to reappoint Mr. Mike Denton. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The unexpired term on the Mecklenburg County Planning Commission that Mrs. Michelle Edmonds was filling for Joseph Taylor expired July 30, 2021. She is now eligible to serve a 4-year term. I have not spoken with Ms. Edmonds, but she has not indicated to me that she doesn't want to serve a 4-year term. So at this time, I'm going to make the motion that we appoint Mrs. Michelle Edmonds to serve the next 4-year term. All in favor, or any discussion? All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The term of Mr. Mark Warren on the Mecklenburg County Planning Commission will expire on September 30th. He is eligible for reappointment. Anyone?
I'd like to make the motion to reappoint Mr. Mark Warren.
All right, you've heard that motion in discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right. You've got in your packet the Lake Country Airport minutes and the treasurer's report. That's for your informational purposes. On the consent calendar, I believe our treasurer indicated that they're still working on closing out for the fiscal year audit, so we don't have a consent calendar.
Right.
But we do have a bills list,
So
we do have a bills list in there. So we would need approval of those.
So we need to a motion to approve the consent calendar as it has been presented.
So moved, Mr.
All right, motion to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, that brings us to the end of our regular agenda items. At this time, we will open it up for public comment. Mr. Carter?
I think many of these people spoke in the zoning cases. I will do my best to say their names. If they're here, please get up. Corrine Walker, Herb Burgart, Patricia Graves, Steve Parrish, Glenn Reyes, Lane Sandifer.
All of these folks are here to speak on behalf of the internet services in this county. Request the board allow me to speak first, that way you can hear their testimony a little bit more clear.
That would be David Varner.
Is he signed up to speak?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine, Mr. Varner.
Makes sense.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is David Varner, and I'm the owner of Lake Country Internet, a wireless internet service provider doing business here in Mecklenburg County since 1999. We are a family-owned and operated business serving our community now for 2 generations. We were one of the first companies here in Mecklenburg County to provide high-speed internet services over satellite to residents and businesses here. Our most successful was with Viasat, where we became the #1 dealer on the East Coast for 4 years in a row due to the enormous demand in this region, and #10 dealer nationwide. Today, we still have about 1,000 satellite clients scattered across this region whom we are trying to reach with our AirFiber wireless. Thanks to a partnership with Microsoft, we were able to launch our AirFiber wireless services here in Mecklenburg County in the fall of 2018, less than 3 years ago. Today, our AirFiber wireless service has the capability to provide internet services anywhere in this county. With the addition of a small ham radio type tower, we can bring internet to any community within 10 to 25 miles of any of our towers. We have done this successfully over and over, delivering high-speed internet to folks when no one else would, when no one else with a whole lot more money than we do would even give these folks the time of day. Lake Country Internet has managed to build this network first and foremost by the grace of God and His blessings, a lot of credit, private funding, a ton of long hours, and good old-fashioned hard work. My checkbook and credit lines can't be replenished fast enough for us to keep up with the demand we receive on a daily basis. We need financial help. This county administrator, despite my repeated requests over the last 2 years, asking for help applying for a VADI grant, has not considered any other technology but fiber to the home for the county. Have you been out to all the coves around the lake and all the rolling farmland with houses spread out far and wide? We have. It would be foolish to spend countless millions to reach these folks with fiber when we can do it with a small tower for a fraction of the cost of fiber. We can provide the same speeds and level of service as a hard fiber connection, only wirelessly. We can provide this service in a matter of weeks to any community that wants it, and we can do it for a fraction of what a fiber run to every home would cost. And most importantly, being a family-run company, we know and appreciate who puts food on our tables. Our many clients are here today. So for us, our customers are top priority, and we work hard for them. And many of them will testify for that. My question to you is this: why is my company being denied the right to access to grant funding and everything going to fund BIT Mecklenburg Electric? I could speak of the multiple millions they have already received and squandered on their wildfire service.
Time.
Leaving customers without any service.
Thank you, Mr. Varner.
Excuse me, I was not given.
I'll have to interrupt you. It's 3 minutes. Yes, sir.
He gave you a 2-minute warning.
I did.
He gave you a warning.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next, Lane Sandifer.
To speak to what Mr. Varner was saying, good morning. I am Lane Sandifer. I live at 758 Mooresville Road. To speak what he says, they're not being given the approval to even be considered for a VADI grant, which would allow them to build these small ham radio towers in communities that can reach effectively all of Mecklenburg County with high-speed internet. I'm talking 50 megabits a second internet. That is equivalent to what fiber is, but at 10% of the cost as to what you would give to Empower Broadband and all of them. So he has 20 years of experience in telecom. I'm presenting a plan that you can give Empower Broadband the ability to put in gigabit fiber in the urban areas of Clarksville, South Hill, and Boynton to help get the businesses that need gigabit fiber, which is very few in this county, and then give LCI the grants to spread out air fiber to the more rural spread out communities that really can't use gigabit fiber. Because, to be quite honest, most households can barely use 100 megabits of internet per second. So it would just be foolhardy to waste millions of dollars in fiber to the home when it can be done more efficiently. It can be done for 10% of the costs. Plus, you're supporting a Boynton-based business. Local businesses, you're supporting a local family. Especially now in this area where we have billions coming down from the federal coffers. The new infrastructure plan, which is being passed today by the Senate, you can now, they're putting $65 billion into local broadband. Why can't they get the opportunity to have a grant? We give millions of dollars to BIT, who left our customers high and dry 2 years ago with absolutely no service in the dead of night. Meanwhile, these guys have been putting internet into homes for the past 3 years with their own public money.
1 minute.
So I see you can put 20 million into fiber, you might only get 5,000 customers. You could put 20 million into LCI, you can get up to 30,000 customers, which is about half this county's population. Get them high-speed, affordable, fiber-like internet via this hybrid plan. It is idiotic to sit and waste the people's money on fiber that will not benefit the county to the degree you think it will, when you can just do it locally and it only costs 10% of the money. If you're making those decisions and you're making stupid decisions like that, you shouldn't be in office. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
Casina Sandifer.
Good morning again.
Morning.
I'm Tom Ivy. 132 Lakefront Drive, Clarksville. The purpose of my visit today to see you is this internet business. I have served on many boards of directors over the years, and I understand how it works as far as timing goes. I understand how it goes as far as agendas go. I'm going to request that you put this on an agenda that the public can come to and understand and see what the difference is between these differences in internet options. I don't even have cell phone service where I live on Lakefront Drive. We do have Mr. Varner's service. We had the satellite type that we could not even get phone service. With his internet, I got a box from Verizon and I have cell service in my house. This happened overnight like that. And if he can put this kind of service in our areas, in our back areas, we need to hear about it. So I'm going to request that you put this on an agenda so we can hear about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Casina Sanders. I live at 758 Mooresville Road. Over the last 4 or 5 years, my Verizon bill has gone as far as $500 and some a month just to get cell service, just to be able to get something on TV. It doesn't work. We got Mr. Varner to come in 8 hours. We've got service. I get Netflix, cell service, telephone service, everything. So why not pay it to a local man instead of AT&T, Verizon, and all these other companies getting billions of grant money to do nothing for local people, country people, which when you call them and ask them, all they tell you is, you're not eligible in our area. Nothing we can do about it, sorry. That's all you get. We don't live in the big city. We live in the country, rural areas. This man has the capability to put boxes on trees so he can penetrate and get it to your house. He goes that extra mile, him and his son. They're the nicest people to deal with. And when they say they're going to be there, they're there. When he told us he was going to be there that day, it may have been 5 hours later, but he was there. It may have been at 6 o'clock that night, but he was there. My son texted him and said, I know you're running late. He texted him back and said, yeah, I know I'm running late, but I'm going to be there. He was there. Our service was hooked up that night. Try calling Verizon, AT&T, and any other company you're going to deal with. Have you sit at home for 8 or 9 hours waiting for them to be there? When you call them, did they reduce your bill? His truck broke down in our yard. His initial fee is $285. He knocked off the $200 because his truck broke down in our yard. How many times have you asked AT&T to knock down anything off?
1 minute.
How many times have you ever dealt with a big company that's ever apologized to you or done anything for you? This man has a business. He knows what he's doing. He's reliable and he's polite. So why not help the man out with grants and help him to build his company? Because he is doing the best he can do and he is reliable. So why not help him out? Don't line your pockets with somebody else's money.
Thank you.
Larry Cook, James Smith, Vincent Hickson, Gladys Crosley. The next one I'm not sure on, Cliff Watts. I'm not sure on that one. Edward Melton.
Morning.
Morning.
Edward Melton, 394 Doggett Drive in Clarksville. Professionally, I am Senior Vice President of Technology for a national insurance broker. We have 8,000 clients, 8,000 users across the nation, 160 offices. I'm very familiar with the topic of internet. Fiber is the way to go, long term. I have no doubt about that. But the cost, the time, the digital divide is now. We need help today. I've been a full-time resident of Mecklenburg County for 3 years, part-time for 7 years prior to that, coming from Richmond. The digital divide of what's available in our metropolitan areas versus the southern rural areas of this state or any other state is critical, and it's today. Mr. Varner's solution isn't fiber, but it is today. It can help solve this, the problem of that digital divide in a matter of weeks. It's not millions of dollars, but it is something that can be done now. As supervisors, I completely understand and applaud the efforts for the long-term requirements, and fiber can be part of that. But hedge your bets. Let's do something that can help short-term, not put all the dollars in the big bucket. Let's spread it out, use the small business. Somebody can help us today. I work from home every single day of the week. My wife works from home every single day of the week. Without Lake Country Internet, that would not be viable. We do not have cell service. You cannot get that ubiquitously across this county. This solution is in place today. I ask that you consider the solution and not as opposed to, but in addition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dennis King.
Good morning.
Morning.
And thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Dennis King. I live at 230 Old Forest Road out in the Bluestone Forest area. And I'm here to advocate for that Lake Country Internet would be awarded grant money to expand their air fiber wireless service. My wife Cynthia and I, we relocated, we purchased it out in the area in Bluestone Forest there in December of 2018. My wife wanted to get down, reduce that commute from DC to do care provider for her mother who lived in Black Ridge, okay? So we looked around for areas where the internet was readily available and reliable, and so we ended up out here in this area and stuff. So I echo what was just said. It sounds like the fiber thing is all or nothing, and what I mean all or nothing is not available now, whereas Lake Country is available as we presently speak. My home, where I grew up at, is over in La Crosse. My wife's home is over in Black Ridge. I've noticed that they've started trenching and laying some cable coming down in the Marengo area, down La Crosse, headed toward Bracy. There's no trenching of cable up in Black Ridge and stuff, so they're waiting. How long they're waiting, I don't know. Here again, I repeat, Lake Country, their service is available now. So rather than going at all or nothing, because what is the delivery time for the fiber throughout the county? That's why I say all or nothing. But right now, this man has service, is reliable. And when we got here, we went with another provider. We didn't move here permanently until September of 2019 because we're trying to get electricity and internet and all that type of stuff up on the lake area and stuff. So we went with another provider. And it was unreliable. We purchased a larger data plan at quite an expense and stuff, and that still didn't work. So about a year later, we turned to Lake Country, cut the bill in half, and his service is working for us. My wife worked for the federal court, the Fourth Circuit. She worked from home, and she needs reliable, dependable service, and Lake Country can do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Walter Smyer.
Very good.
That was a tough one.
Yeah, there is another one.
I'm Walt Smyer. I live at 293 Old Forest Road in Bluestone Forest, Clarksville. I, like the rest here, want to encourage, and if I could get on my hands and knees and beg for you to reconsider what Lake Country Internet has to offer for us now. When we moved here 5 years ago, 5.5 years from Charleston, South Carolina, to get away from the big city, we found that, okay, there's a problem we have here, and that's cell phones and internet. And that was something you just normally never worried about. So we contacted HughesNet, and theirs was reasonably good, then all of a sudden it went away. So we said, okay, we upgraded to their new Gen Star 5 series they took. Well, it doubled the price on a monthly bill. So, and long story short is that they've helped us. We switched over. We had a neighbor that put a tower up in our community, in our neighborhood, and we now have Wi-Fi service. It's reliable, it's dependable, it happens. You can stream things. This past year with the pandemic, when all of us were using our cell phone or internet to do our worship services, we couldn't do it until we got Lake Country internet. So I just ask you to reconsider how locally we can buy locally, support locally, and have them give us immediately the things we need with internet, which we all take for granted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mo Cruz spoke, Kelly Detmer, Mike Weekly.
Stanley Michael Weekly, live at 430 Lakefront Drive, Clarksville, Virginia. Common sense. Common sense. Yes, I am a customer of Dave's, and I am completely satisfied. Emails submitted to Dave in support of his company and his situation here. I'm back to common sense. I would hope that it's rampant in this county. Spending $9 to get the same thing you can get for $1. Putting an application in for fiber only. When there's another technology out there that is more environmental friendly. The towers have nowhere near the environmental footprint that fiber does. You can take the same money and provide for 9 households, which you can with fiber for 1. I am not a person who believes, like some of these more educated people, that fiber is the future. It's hard for me to believe that Verizon, that AT&T, that Bell abandoned cable starting over 20 years ago. Those people didn't have engineers with sense enough to determine whether fiber, whether cable would be better than over the air. As far as atrocities about the service that can be provided over the air, ridiculous. We've heard here today that it can get to everybody, that technology can get to everybody in a short period of time. Not over possibly we'll try to get there in 3 years. I want to submit a letter here that y'all's application for intent for fiber only. I would like to submit that. I'd also like to submit, I think that's the right letter, information that I pulled from what the rules and regulations are for doing that. It's not just that fiber is available to submit the application to, as I was told, but also over the air technology. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Steve Trummel.
Morning, honorable members of the board. My name is Steve Trammell. I live on 1010 Lakefront Drive in Clarksville, Virginia. And I too am a happy customer of Lake Country Internet. When I first heard about what was going on with David, I thought it seemed a little unfair that he wasn't included in the very beginning back in 2018. And according to the South Boston News and Reporter, an interesting fact that's been overlooked is, as this new player, Wilkes Communication was given, said they had earned the right to the business. A newcomer, they said. That's not Mr. Varner. He's a community member. He's a neighbor. He lives here. He's been putting his blood, sweat, and tears and money into this business to provide you and me and other customers with Wi-Fi and internet services that we could not get, still cannot get, and won't get, according to this, for another 10 years when their project's complete. So I'm like some of these other folks, I want it now, and I got it. And he gave it to me just like that, and it's affordable. So I'm just asking for your support to Mr. Varner. If you're ever without internet and can't get it, you'll be happy as I was when I got it. And Mr. Varner can do it for you. And he continues to do it for a lot of folks. The other thing that's been overlooked, and I haven't heard anybody speak about it, in awarding this money to Wilkes Communications, it states that Boydton, Chase City, and Clarksville were excluded from their coverage. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. Ivy's already spoken, Mr. Varner's spoken. Next on it, Eric Perhaven? Perhaven, thank you, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak for a few minutes. I am not opposed, I live at 1071 Lakefront Drive in Clarksville, Virginia. I am not opposed to fiber. I am a current customer of LCI. I'm very happy. I now have internet service. I've got cell service at the house. What I do oppose is giving grant money to one company, to one technology. In the long-term interests of Mecklenburg County, I would think it would behoove of the board to consider competition. If you're going to put fiber in the ground and put it to each house, that's considered an infrastructure play. Whether they connect to a customer or not is a customer's decision. So if you're going to put fiber in the ground as an infrastructure play, should we also put towers around to provide infrastructure on a competing technology and hopefully in the long run keep our prices down and keep technology moving forward for all of the customers within Mecklenburg County? I would also second this gentleman's suggestion that we put this on the agenda for long-term, for a more deeper discussion with the board and the public later on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last was Veronica Everett. That's all who have signed up for public comments, sir.
Okay. All
And
right.
I'll need the copies of the emails back if you don't.
Ran that in. They went all the way around.
Okay.
All right, thank you all for your comments. We appreciate that.
One package.
Yeah, it's all one.
Yeah, thank you.
I have them, Wayne.
Okay.
What?
Still some more.
Everybody took a sheet off.
Okay,
I'll give it to you.
let's move on to board member matters. Mr. Brinkley, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I think I could do that. Well, it certainly today was a pleasure for Odyssey to come and being able to give her that resolution. Like I say, just really proud of her, where she's come from and you know, the way she's matured and the way she's handled herself through all this. And I think doors are being opened and many, many more doors are being opened for her going forward. She's got a lot of opportunities right there. You know, I coach girls sports, you know, and girls and all a lot. But, you know, if a boy had the opportunity, the World Series she had, they'd be making millions and millions of dollars today. But hopefully she'll get there on a slow road and all that. And you know, we had the public hearings on the zoning and all that. You know, being on the zoning committee too, you know, we try to come up with what's best that meets the ordinance and that we have and the comprehensive plan. We had to get into that, and I certainly totally understand, and I think people should come and question things. question about it, and I think, we talked about, we gotta have the health department to check behind these people. We need to make sure that everybody's accountable and make sure that these people do exactly what they say they're gonna do when we're putting in something a little different or something like that. So I just hope, and I think we have, because 10 years been on the plan, I never had heard people coming back and say, very seldom that they didn't do what they said they were gonna do and stuff like that. So it works out, and all of us don't like a little bit of a change. I'm real good at that myself and all, but hopefully we'll hold them accountable and all. And a couple Sundays ago, I had two of my real good friends come to our church and all. One of them actually preached. Andy Hargrave and them Mr. Spain come, and that was real joy to have them there in our community there doing what they're doing. And everybody liked Andy. There's a lady down there that the preacher that went there for the normal service called her and that's how things went. Said it was just like normal. Said he preached right from the Bible. He did just like you did, and said he gave the devil to David too. So I mean, just so everything. But that's it. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jennings?
I think I will pass.
All right.
Sake of time.
Ms. Lundy?
Back to the school. Is someone checking on the construction every day? I thought we had that set up.
Yes, ma'am. Skanska's out there. They have an office there. When we met they have an office in that building also.
No, it's someone from the school board. From the county.
Skanska's their representative
He
on site.
represent us.
Yes, ma'am.
We
We don't have any.
have that from the school board.
They represent the school board.
Okay.
They're being paid, that's part of their services, to do that on a daily basis. Also to do the procurement, straight direct procurement to save on the sales tax, et cetera. But they're out there every day.
Are we getting a written report on those?
I don't get any reports from them, no ma'am. They answer to the school board. That's who their contract's with.
So we have to contact the school board if we need to know something. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. On the behavioral health situation, I like the first bullet under the current initiative, school-based counseling being offered to all school systems that is no cost to the district. All we need is space. Are we supposed to provide that space for them or the school system?
That would not be us. That would be the school system.
School system, okay. Just want to know, because that's bullet number 1 is very good. They need that. And what about the statue? I guess I'm just going all around. When is that supposed to be moved or start be moved?
I've been giving y'all weekly updates every month from him, and he keeps.
I mean, have he given you?
I sent you one 2 weeks
I
ago.
know, I read that.
That's the last I've heard from him.
Okay,
ma'am.
all right.
I was out last week.
Okay, so it's not moving anywhere, right?
Not yet.
Okay. It should have been started, right? Should have.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just want to know where's it. Lastly, on this Oak Road rezoning, I think we did the the residents a disservice today. My reason for saying that is because when someone comes to this board with a problem, with a question, you need to try to seek out the answer for that. And they have questions about the water, the sewage, and safety. And you overlooked that and just went on and voted. But I think you did them a disservice. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Mr. Hargrove.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pertaining to the rezoning, I'm one of them old school boys that only know that water runs downhill. And that water is underground is built on arteries and veins. If you tap into an artery and then you drain from the vein, then those that are on the vein won't have water because it has supplied all the arteries. And so I'm kind of concerned with that. If they go deep enough and hit that vein, and that vein pours into that main artery, then you have just pulled from those veins to supply the artery. So, but the decision is made. And also the amount of work that I've seen on the school today, I don't know how they're gonna make it happen by next year, but God works wonders. And also, Lydia Gordon, I'm so proud of her because she's one of the ones that I taught when she was in elementary school. And also, she didn't leave home, but she stayed home to carry on the heritage. And so she's going to be catering to all to the churches and so forth, and something for the young folk to do on Saturdays and Sundays, and that's a good thing. and I applaud her for that. And the next thing, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Branker, thank you so much for inviting me to your church. And I do thank you for not announcing it because we had more members to show up than we did last year.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My main thing is school's getting ready to start again, and I think this year hopefully will be much different for our students than they were last year.
Hope so.
But we definitely want to thank our teachers and school administrators, bus drivers, all the school system employees, because they do a tremendous job for us in educating our children. And we see how the new school's coming along, and I agree they got a whole lot to do in less than a year. But, it is a great work in progress, and I think it'll be amazing. And again, I would like to, as Mr. Branklin said, congratulate Odyssey, because she's a tremendous young lady, and also Keldon Johnson, who won the Olympic gold. It's pretty impressive that these two young people are from Southside Virginia, and the quality of people that they are just speaks volumes. And also last month, John Taylor and Ben had the 911 trailer open up at the 911 center, and it was truly impressive to see what they've been able to do with that and the technology that they've put in that. And I want to thank them for having it open and accessible. That's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Wilkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And most of my other colleagues have hit on what I was going to say as usual, but I just want to say it's a good thing, with the Gordons, what they're doing up there. That is, it highlights our culture, our area, the agriculture side, and like Mr. Hargrove said, an opportunity for something to do. That's really lacking.
Yeah.
And as we all know, the social aspect of our lives is very important to embark on. Hopefully that will do well for them, and I'm thankful that they brought this about. And I finally just want to say such a good job for Southside Behavioral Health. In this crazy world we live in now, I feel like they would be even more stressed in that line of work. And I think we should offer any way we can to help them going forward. So that's all that I have.
Thank you. Mr. Jones?
Well, I'd like to add the same thing about Southside behavioral health situation. Like you said, just going through the pandemic, I'm sure people think about the physical health situations, but the mental health is just as important, if not more, in some situations. And I would like to see possibly more. We keep on talking about all the drug trafficking and all the stuff coming across the borders and everything else, that there is maybe more emphasis put on not necessarily enforcing the law, which is very important, but also giving, I think it is more cost effective sometimes to give an option to the ones that have gone down that road to return to society and produce and be a better part of the community, and or can carry on, many of them, to just carry on their normal functions every day without doing illegal trading and stuff going on behind the buildings and whatever. I just like to see a little more emphasis put on that. And as far as Oak Road goes, I own multiple rental houses and one duplex, and they can fit in the community, and they can certainly be something that the community can support. As we have apartment complexes, we've got two nice ones in Clarksville that stand out. If you rode by them, they're well kept. It's a matter of understanding that we have a situation in this county that we have a housing shortage, in my opinion, because everybody keeps calling me, won't know if I've got anything. And I think there's a stigma attached to apartments, thinking that it brings in the wrong crowd. And I don't think that's going to be the issue here. These are nice-looking units. They're not. You're not talking about a 100-unit complex. I think it'll be just fine. And then going on to Mr. Varner and Lake Country Internet, my biggest issue is today, just like some of them have said, but there's a lot more planning that goes involved instead of just sticking a tower up somewhere. There has to be approval from The plant, well, got to do a 232 review, and got to do, set a site plan that has to be approved, and there's a lot of process, since you just don't go out and stick a tower up. So it's probably, I would say it could take a year to put a tower up, if you started today. As far as the county participating, the grant process, we certainly can join in with a company, a private company that wants to apply for a grant, and we could partner with them, but we don't write grants. That would have to be done by someone that the company is trying to put the towers up would have to do. But I am concerned that even though high-speed internet possibly will be in 3 years, which I think is a mighty aggressive approach. I cannot imagine with all the roads that we have and all the dirt paths we have in this county, that even be impossible. And somebody can certainly say they can do it. Proof's in the pudding, let's see it. So, but there's a gap there, and I worry about our school children. I've got some properties that don't have internet service and are not serviced by Mr. Warner or anybody. They have to drive somewhere to get a signal, and I think those people need help now. They don't need their children waiting 3 years to get service, or more. And so I think there's a Band-Aid approach, and maybe we need to possibly look at doing some of this anyway. And it'd be if high-speed internet comes to all the houses and Mr. Varner goes out of business, well, he's a private business owner, He has to understand what's going on. So that's about it. Look forward to school starting back. Hope we can stay in school. I worry about the numbers that we get regularly every day have increased considerably, and so I'm very concerned about that. And tell everybody to get vaccinated. Cut this virus in half. Cut it down. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Spain?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's good to see the public come to voice their opinion, concern. That's how this system should work. So we're aware of the other side and we make decisions. And I think that's a good thing when we do have the public to come, not to be afraid, but let us know how you think and how you feel. If the superintendent were here, I would ask how he feeling about the Delta virus, how that going, and when the school over. Mr. Carl, you have any comment concerning this virus? You think it's gonna get worse, gonna get better? Folks need to take shots, and some said no.
No, sir. I mean, you did get John's report while we were here. Our caseload did go down as of today. Last week, we were running in the mid to upper 50s. This morning, it's 34. So it is a significant decrease since Friday. Yeah, we hit 60, so that is hopefully, maybe that's just something that happened because of Lake Fest, July 4th. It's running its course, and maybe hopefully we'll drop back down. We don't know yet. But yeah, you saw that uptick really the week after July 4th. We started coming up, and then it kind of hit during Lake Fest weekend area type. So
They don't divide out the Delta
no.
part to see how much influence that is.
Mr. Carter, did that,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, I'm through.
Okay, all right.
anything about outbreak at Central, I think it's Central and South Boston?
I haven't seen anything, man.
Because my husband has a friend that he was going to see last Friday. He told him they had a lock-in for a couple of days.
Don't know.
All right. On the internet situation, I'm not sure I'm smart enough to even have an intelligent conversation about all these different methods of getting internet service. I guess what? But who is making these decisions? Excuse me, sir, I'm talking. What I guess I don't quite understand is as I understand it, Mr. Carter, all the money that's coming down through the state and federal level is for fiber. Is that not true?
ARPA money requires that if you use any of that, which is the newest money coming out, the CARES money didn't have any requirements on speed. the ARPA money has 100 up and down on that funds. What's coming out through the stimulus package, I have not seen, sir, what those requirements are.
Okay. So maybe we need to look into that situation a little bit further and dig a little deeper into that situation. So, the rezoning issue, not that I'm trying to justify my vote on it, but I think the thing that probably, swayed my vote on that was the fact that somebody could come in there and build 5 houses with 5 bedrooms. And you know what I'm saying? Now, if this had been a 150 unit apartment complex, I'd have had a whole different attitude about it. But so hopefully, I feel like with the presentation and what I see here, all this will fit into the community without any harm or whatever. So anyway, sorry I missed the budget meeting. I talked to Mr. Spain. I had a WE council meeting, and Mr. Carter couldn't be there because of the budget meeting, and so I was informed that, if I wasn't at the WE council meeting, they may not have a quorum and couldn't conduct any business. It just so happened if I hadn't been there, they wouldn't have had a quorum. And, but the several things on the good news is hydrilla on Lake Gaston is pretty much under control. We're down now to 9 or 10 acres maybe of it or something like that, from a high of, 1,000 acres. It's amazing how that's been controlled. The other good news is Delegate Rosalind Tyler, through her participation on the Finance Committee at House of Delegates, she was able to get us some more money. She got us $800,000, $400,000 each year in the budget to fight this Lingbia weed, which is pretty disgusting looking weed. It's an algae, actually. It's not a weed. So we're still fighting that and doing a lot of research to try to figure out, what the heck we're going to do to get rid of this thing. And it's it hampers swimming, boating, fishing. Not to mention the fact that I understand it has a pretty foul odor to it as well. So, but anyway, that's what's going on with the Weed Council. That's all I have. So at this time, we do need to go into closed session for Personnel Committee and also for legal matters. So I need a motion to go into closed session.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to go into closed session. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All right, we're now into closed session. We're going to take about a 10-minute break.
member are present except for one. We're in the closed session, and we decided on Mr. Frank Roush to be the next 911 director. With the pay that we mentioned, so I'd like to put that in the form of motion that we do hire Mr. Frank Roush for our next 911 dispatcher.
Okay, you've heard the motion. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. At the recommendation of our attorney, our county attorney, Mr. Slayton, we have this MOU pertaining to opioid funds distribution that he's recommending that we adopt. So the chair would entertain a motion to do that.
Mr. Chair, I so move.
We have a motion to adopt the MOU for the opioid distributions. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all. That's all I have.
Jim said bow tie.
I know.
When is the afternoon?